I guess I started my singing in high school choir, but nothing of great renown there, just one of the chorus. But then, when I was at the University of Minnesota, I started singing in our church choir, Cole Park Lutheran Church in St. Paul. And I wonder if any of you have heard of Hollis Burt. He was the director. Kind of a big name around the Twin Cities back then. One day Hollis said, "We have a great soprano that could sing in our choir, but she doesn't drive. Would anybody be willing to pick her up on Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings?" And I volunteered. And of course that was Linda Gower. And so on Sunday mornings we would talk about our dates on Saturday night and things like that. And this went on for more than 6 months. So I finally thought I'd ask her out. I think it was a fraternity sleigh ride at the university. And I thought we had a great time. So I'd ask her out again. She said no. Anyway, I persisted, and I gotta tell you, that was the luckiest day of my life because I got the best wife a man could ask for. And we're still married after 55 years. And we were a singing family. We sang in the car during road trips all the time. And mostly religious songs, Living for Jesus and things like that. And it turns out that my daughter is now a professional singer. My son's a pretty good singer, but he's a professional actor. And Linda and I both still enjoy singing. Fast forward to 1987. No, before that. You all know Doug and Dorothy Chapman, right? Well, they were directors together or separately at the Lutheran Church of the Resurrection in Roseville, where we lived. And Doug sang with the St. Paul chapter at that time. And he would, first of all, we sang in the choir out there. He would encourage us to come to the St. Paul shows, which we got to learn to enjoy very much. He kept bugging me about, why don't you come to the St. Paul chapter? We rehearse on Tuesday nights. And I delayed for a couple of years, but finally in March of 1987, I said, Doug, guess what? I'm going to come to the St. Paul chapter next Tuesday night. And he said, well, I got something to tell you. I'm no longer there. And of course, he was at Hilltop. He said, well, you ought to come over to this new chapter. But I was interested in getting involved in barbershopping, but I didn't want to make a competition chorus my first opportunity. So I went ahead and joined the St. Paul chorus in March of 1987. Now from there, my barbershop experience sort of goes in two different paths. One is administrative, one is singing. So I'm going to give you the boring administrative path first. Oh, and at that time, Bob Dalma, who was directing the St. Paul chapter, also left and went over to Hilltop. So Dwayne Rigg took over the directing. And actually all of Doug Chapman's quartet, the Night Owls, went over to Hilltop also. But in any event, I wonder if any of you remember Dick Gilstead. He was a chapter president around that time. So he said, how would you like to be the marketing and PR chair? Or VP. Oh, no less than a VP. And so I said, oh, I'll give it a try. And apparently I had some success. I had some connections with WCCO radio, and so we usually could get a quartet onto the the morning show with Dave Lee before our shows, get a little promotion done. But somewhere along the line there, somebody asked Dwayne Rigg if they knew anybody that would like to be the marketing and PR VP for the LOL district. And he gave him my name, and so I was elected to that. Well, fast forward a couple more years, maybe 3 years, and they asked me if I would be Land O'Lakes president. And I was for 2005 and 2006. And then I think the society back that time was looking for a bean counter, and I was, of course, a CPA. And so I was elected to the society board 2007 to 2010, and was elected treasurer in 2008 to 2010. That was about the time of the move from the society from Kenosha to Nashville. And they built a new building down there. It was a darn good thing that I was retired, because I spent about a week a month down there working on the financing of the building and various other financial matters, hiring of a new CEO, CFO, Chief Financial Officer. And I have to tell you, that was a life-enriching experience for me, to be on the society board, to deal with all these wonderful people that were on the board, and get to meet them and know them and respect them, be respected by them, was a great experience of my life. So, that's the end of the administrative part of my story. Singing experience. Well, I enjoyed singing with the St. Paul Quartet. Always hot to get in a quartet. My first quartet was named Metrotones, and we were not that good. So a couple of us ended that experience and got together with another group. You probably won't know these names. Tom Heinke was tenor, I was lead. Bill Jensen was bass, and Bob DeLamartre was baritone.
I remember Bob.
Yeah. So anyway, we started together in 1993 doing Singing Valentines. Really enjoyed it and decided to stay together, and did Singing Valentines and until 2010, believe it or not, when Bob DeLamartre passed away. So, but once I turned 55, a couple years after 1993, we decided, we were a senior quartet then, they were all older than me. So we decided we were going to try for the senior district championship. And we had quite a years of experience trying to do that. And let me just briefly give you who beat us for many years. 1995, Gay 90s decided to compete and won. 1996 and 97, Season Sound. Judd, I believe that was your quartet.
Yes.
Beat us. 1998, Nap Time, and I believe that's Gary Jacobson's quartet. 1999 and 2000, Harmony out of eastern Wisconsin, and they were future international quartet champs.
And they won more than once.
Okay.
Not supposed to happen.
2001 and 2002, the Old Timers. Now they were from Fox River Valley, and I assume at least one Thiel, Bob Thiel, was in that, and maybe a couple of others, I don't know. 2003, Downstate Express whipped us. So anyway, we decided to get serious about it and get more coaching. So we went to Mary Dick when we were coming up on the 2004 contest, and she worked with us for several weeks. But do you remember how renowned national judges, not judges, but anyway, would come to town to work with good quartets, gooder than us. Like Ray Schwarzkopf, who was here a few weeks ago, was in town. We hired him for an hour. George Gipp was in town working with some quartets. We hired him. And so they all did us pretty good. And in 2004, we won the district senior quartet championship. We kept at it. Okay, so we were really having a good time, and we'd get a few gigs that kind of came over the transom, and they paid pretty good. And so in about 2000, I thought, I'm going to look into an agent. And I found this in the Yellow Pages. It was called Vocal Music Specialties. The guy's name was Ben Shapiro. Don't call me Shapiro. And he got us several gigs. It started out, you know how these retirement income people sponsor dinners for old folks like us to come in and talk about how you're going to do your retirement. Well, we did several of those for Mr. Shapiro. A couple $100 for a half hour, not bad. One of them we walked in, and former district president Tom Wickenheiser and his wife were sitting there. And I thought, well, we better, sing a little better tonight, because he knows what good barbershop sounds like. We did a birthday party for Governor Arnie Carlson at St. Paul Hotel. Other corporate parties, including birthdays. And one I want to tell you about in particular, because it was for Medtronic. Medtronic had a trade show, and it was at some hotel in a big ballroom. And anyway, our contact was the administrative assistant for the marketing VP or something like that. So we talked to her, and she just said, well, we got 4 microphones for you up at this end of the room, and just go ahead and do your stuff. So we sang and probably did our whole repertoire in about 45 minutes. And then people were busy walking around different displays and whatnot. And so every once in a while there'd be a smattering of applause, 1 or 2 people would clap, but mostly they weren't paying much attention to us. Anyway, we got done and chased her down, said we're done, and she, you sang? Oh yeah, you guys were great. You guys were really great. And we'll send a check to Mr. Shapiro. Anyway, when we retired, when Bob died, we had 3 or 4 grand in the bank. And I think, we weren't great, but I think people enjoyed listening to us. We were good enough, acceptable, I called it. And we spent that money, well, we had a little distribution to the members, but then spent the rest of the money supporting the St. Paul show, giving them $300-400 every show as a sponsor, until it was gone, and now it's gone. Now we left Linda out of this whole story, my wife, but in 2003, the married couple singing group Friends, who was 8 couples at that time, were losing 2 couples because they were moving. That was the Windys and the Shaws were moving out of town. And the Gunners, Bergersons and the Johnsons were both charter members of that group. Yep. But anyway, we auditioned and were accepted, along with Gary and Marilyn Jacobson, to replace those 2 couples. Well, then the group had 8 couples at that time. Of course, unfortunately, Alana Conlon and Mark Conlon passed away, and another couple moved back to Green Bay. So we were 6 couples. But we enjoyed it very much. We sang for several years at International. They had a mixed, they still do it now, but they had a mixed harmony review at International one of the evenings, where a number of mixed harmony groups sang. And after that was over, we caroled at the Guthrie for several years in the lobby before the play, The Christmas Carol. They would invite various groups down there. And one of the, you guys remember this, I think one of the fun things we did is, while we were on our way down to the Guthrie, we stopped off at my old boss's house, Carl Polad, who was pretty much 90 by that time, and entertained him, right?
Right.
And about 3 years we did that. So that's about the end of it for me. Any questions?
I have a general question. So, back in the early 2000s, you could win the district more than once?
No,
Senior, I thought
No.
you said,
I said that. There have been
well, no, but he read,
Well,
you said some quartet won in 2002 and 2003. You
yeah,
said that about 4 times.
that was, well, I apologize. No, we had just won it in 2004. But back then, like Seasoned Sound won it in 2 years,
That's what I'm asking.
and Harmony won it in 2 years, and the Old Timers won it.
No.
So they allowed quartets to
Yeah.
win it more than once.
Well, you
Yeah,
see,
that
you
was my
had to qualify to go through that, to go to international, and if you had already won it, they called your name, even though you had won it before, they called your name and allowed you to be the champion. And somebody asked us after we had won the international, well, do you want to go to district? And we said, that'd be kind of a letdown if we won the district and didn't win it after winning the international. So we said, no, we don't want to do it.
The district changed that to make it
Yeah.
qualifying for international.
Yeah.
And if a chorus, if a quartet hadn't won district, then they would be in the district seniors contest just for that. But last year, the guys from Grand Forks were invited to go to international, even though winning our district didn't get you to international. Now you have to qualify.
But now you can't win the district more than once.
No, that's changed.
They changed that.
That was
As
changed
Steve,
a few years ago.
But didn't Downstate go, or St. Croix Crossing go last year as
They've
well?
gone-
We've gone
You've
for
got about
7 years
7
in a
years.
row now.
They qualified, they won the district quartet contest a long time ago,
2010.
2010.
Before
So the process of going to international is different than the
Yeah.
process of winning the.
That's right. It's
District
the
senior.
same
It's
contest, it's the
different. It
same
used to be
contest,
a-
but the highest
together.
scoring senior from our district goes to international, and then whoever wins, it could be anybody that wins the district, but they don't qualify to go anywhere from
Well,
there.
Steve, when did you first win the district?
2010, you said.
2010 is when they
Okay,
won.
so that's why I didn't name the other guy.
Yeah.
All done.